What's up, y'all? My name is Drew, aka The Hopeless Bromantic. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm just helping us all navigate this nightmarish hellscape that is modern dating and interpersonal relationships, and just trying to help us get through it the best way we can. Now, let's just jump right into it. I want to impart some wisdom. Now, as I slide into the back nine of my 20s,
I'm 29, folks. What's up? 29?
30 is right around the corner. It's scary. It's a scary thing. I've come to, it's come to fruition. And, it's not necessarily about the years in your life, but more the life in your years, this life experience and all these things that you've been through, all this wisdom and knowledge that I feel like I've gained that I would like to impart with y'all, things that I would tell my younger self if I could. Lesson number 1. There is never truly a perfect time. We spend so much of our lives waiting on that perfect time, that perfect moment. We always tell ourselves, we have these hopes and dreams and ambitions, and we always tell ourselves, like, we're going to wait for that perfect time to seize that opportunity. Okay, the opportunity's now. It's a continual window of opportunity. It's not something that's like coming and going, fleeting. Never assume that you have more time, all right? This life that we have is so ephemeral, and just anything in an instant could be gone like that. Should I go back to school and get that degree? Should I switch career paths to something I'm more passionate about? And what if? Should I approach that cute girl or cute guy or cute whomever at the coffee shop or at my job that I think is so cute and I think we could hit it off? Should I reach out to that friend or that family member that I've really been meaning to rekindle things with and I just haven't got around to it because there's a barrier in the way for whatever reason? You got to take that opportunity. The perfect time is now. We are on this earth for a very, 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 very limited period of time. Really just like a microsecond on the time scale of the earth and how other species have occupied this earth. So you don't have very long at this life. Life is a movie, and to me, there really ain't a sequel. At least that's what I believe in. So it's like you got to make the most of these opportunities while you are here. One day you're going to look up, you're going to be 30, you're going to be 45, you're going to be 65, and you're going to have all these regrets, for things that you didn't do and things that you didn't take advantage of. So don't wait for the perfect time. Take it right now. Seize that shit. Carpe that diem.
Do it! Just do it!
Lesson number 2. This one hits deep. This one hits me below the belt. Don't cross oceans for people who won't even jump a puddle for you. In this life, you're going to come across a lot of people that lack empathy and compassion. People just lack maturity. They lack that resolve. They just, everyone has their own story. You don't truly know what they're going through, and everybody has kind of a different life experience. One thing I've learned is that whatever the reason may be, the people in your life, significant others, friends, exes, family members, they're not always going to reciprocate your energy. You can't treat people like they are you, because they're not you and they have a different story. One mistake I've always made is I've always tried to hold people to the same standards as I hold myself to, and other people are just not you. They're not going to act like you, and they're not going to act the way that you expect them to. You can't always see the best in people and expect them to rise to your level and reciprocate your energy and your level of effort, because chances are it's just not going to happen. They are not you. They're going to continue to disappoint you if they've disappointed you in the past. You can't spend your life and your time and your energy waiting for them to change if they're just going to continually keep doing the same thing. It's just the way of the wild, all right? Everybody's different. Everybody's incredibly unique with their own story, their own life experience, their own, culture and values. Especially in our 20s when we're basically just big head ass kids. We're all figuring this thing out called life. Nobody's really going to be on the same wavelength. It's just the way it is. So you really have to set these boundaries, be cognizant of the people that you keep in your life. Are they reciprocating this energy and effort? Do they care about you the way that you care about them? This is very important. Really evaluate, appreciate the people that you have in your life that are close to you and have shown you that they're close to you and really care for you, that are going to call you and check in on you in your times of need, that are going to be there to do favors for you like you're there to do favors for them. People that truly care and give you their compassion and their empathy and their level of effort. And in that same vein, be cognizant of the people who are constantly draining you of your energy. They see the level of effort and the empathy and consideration that you give them, and they just take advantage. Instead of reciprocating, they just take advantage of it. They know you're always going to be at their beck and call when they need a favor, when they need a ride somewhere, when they need you to help them move, when they need to just vent to you about some toxic relationship that they've had or some shitty friend that they've had, that maybe they might be the problem, but they know you're going to be there to listen to them, to do favors for them, to be a sounding board or emotional punching bag for them. Because the sad truth of the matter is people will drain you of your energy and constantly take advantage of you over and over again if you let them, because they're going to grow comfortable in that space. They're not going to be aware of the fact that they're not reciprocating your energy. They're going to take advantage of that. And you do not deserve that. You do not deserve that. So stop taking that shit on the chin. cut it off. Lesson number 3, kind of going off of what I already said, based on number 2, cut the bad fruit from the tree. Just snip. Learn how to set your boundaries. Just don't be afraid to just cut people off. You cannot stay in these toxic relationships and expect them to grow and expect these people to change, because they're going to change you for the worse before you change them for the better. I absolutely guarantee it. Now, you do have to be careful here, because in my opinion, there is a key difference between cutting toxic people out of your life that you don't deserve and simply just pushing people out because you're holding a grudge or holding some petty shit. There's a key difference there. Now, that takes some time. That's going to take a lot of time, maybe therapy and just evaluation with yourself of what the difference between those two courses of action are. Number 4, we've kind of already talked about it. And number 3, don't be afraid of being the asshole. All right, set your boundaries. Now, if you're like me, you grew up being a people pleaser, someone who always had this constant need to be liked.
You love me?
Yes.
You love me?
Yes.
You love me?
Yes.
Whether it stems from the way you were raised with your family, the fact that you have an anxious attachment style, whatever the case may be. I know it definitely encompasses all that for me. But don't worry. You cannot worry what people think of you. You especially can't worry about pleasing people and trying to create this relationship with them where they like you because of how you're performatively acting. All right, that's not a healthy way to live your life for any of the parties involved. And it's especially detrimental to your health, because now you're suffering from not only this lesson, but the previous 2 lessons we talked about, because you can't properly cut people out of your life and you can't properly demand respect. So you're continually going to take shit in the face and get disrespected. You're going to go through the same cycle over and over again, and you're going to be flustered looking in the mirror like, why am I taking this shit from people? It's because you don't know how to set your boundaries properly.
There's something wrong with me psychologically.
Now, when you first start setting boundaries, and that initial kind of phase that you go through, it's going to feel like you're the asshole. Through your own lens of self-perception, you're going to feel like the asshole because you're so used to being overly kind to people, almost in a performative way. It's a heavy contrast to your normal behavior, so it's okay to feel that way. You're going to feel like the asshole. Maybe the people that you're cutting off or treating a different kind of way are going to consider you an asshole, but that's okay. If that's what it takes to set your boundaries, then you're doing it the right way. Number 5, don't let pride and ego dictate your life. I think this happens to so many people as we navigate this life. We want others to perceive ourselves in the best light possible, and sometimes that manifests itself in superficial ways. We want to be seen as someone who makes a lot of money, who has a lot of friends, has a lot of hoes, I don't know, is successful in the love game, or gets the upper hand on significant others in the game of love. There's all kinds of ways that you could go with it that kind of manifests pride and ego, and it's just, in my opinion, it's not a healthy way to live your life. The rapper Fabulous once said, it's okay to lose your pride over someone you love. Don't lose someone you love, though, over your pride. Stick with your entree and get over your side. I don't even remember what song that was, but it kind of always rings true to me, especially because I have friends and family members who really just kind of steer into that pride and ego and just the way that they're perceived by others dictating their value in life, regardless of the way that they're actually treating other people and inspiring other people, which I think is more important. Don't let pride and ego and caring about the way people perceive you as a person of power, as a person who has social value or social hierarchy, you can't let that rule your life. It's just a recipe for a disastrous lifestyle. Number 6, cherish your pleasant memories as much as possible. Now, you're going to have a lot of memories to retain in this life, all right? If you're like me, you've underwent a lot of life experience. A lot of people have come and gone, whether they're friends and family and significant others, exes, whatever. You're going to have a lot of pleasant memories, and you need to hold on to those. See life as a glass half full person, all right? Focus on those pleasant memories. There's going to come a time when you're not 25 anymore, when you're not 18 anymore, when you're not 30 anymore. You've entered a new chapter in your life, and all of a sudden you're looking back on all these pleasant memories that you had, and you're going to realize like, oh, why didn't I appreciate the good times when I was back in the good times? All right, don't get lost in the sauce. This is the era of technology. All right, we have all kinds of mechanisms for retaining these memories through photos and videos. I myself am someone who takes a lot of photos at social events and vlogs sometimes when people are comfortable with it. I'll be that guy. Sometimes I want to live in the moment. Sometimes I want to focus on retaining those nostalgic memories for the future. It is a balance. I do think you need to focus on both. When you get older, you're going to want those timeless memories to look back on and be able to immerse yourself in those moments. And your friends, they might appreciate, I guarantee you they'll appreciate it later on. Maybe people don't watch my vlogs now or appreciate them in all their glory and splendor, but I guarantee you in the future, they'll think more highly of them. I have always personally love videos more than photos. They say a photo is worth 1,000 words, and a video is just a sequence of God knows how many, based on the frame rate, however many photos in sequence, that's exponentially more memories. I mean, you do the math. To me, a video is just more immersive. It just captures the moment better. You can hear voices, you can hear stimuli, you can really immerse yourself in that pleasant memory. Number 7, y'all will have to excuse my French on this one, but the comfort zone. I'm not going to say this is the most important lesson of this video, but I do think it'll go as one of the most sorely underappreciated, because comfort zone is one of the most toxic, in my opinion, one of the most toxic 2-word phrases in the English language. And partially because it's something that sounds so innocuous and something that really affects us all, and we don't realize that it's detrimental. All right, we live our everyday lives in this kind of humdrum. We're kind of slaves to routine sometimes because to us it's comfortable to kind of know what you're going to do because you've done it so many times in the past.
Put yourself in situations where you're not comfortable.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite saying. That's my favorite
People
saying.
get entrenched in the comfort zone. And maybe that's not always a negative thing. We all find ourselves in the comfort zone. Every day of your life, at some point, you are going to find yourself in a comfort zone. You have this routine of like, okay, well, I brush my teeth and then I make breakfast a certain way this way, and then I go to work at a certain time, and I put gas in my car on a certain day of the week, whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a good thing to be able to tune out the meticulous, menial details of our life that we don't want to spend extra time and energy on, because then we'd be absolutely overwhelmed. But when it comes to life overall, you need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to constantly push the envelope, get out of your comfort zone, try new things, talk to new people and hear their story. Try developing new skills that you didn't previously have in your arsenal, whether it's at work, whether it's a hobby, whether it's your social skills. I know that's been big for me. The comfort zone. It's okay to be comfortable about certain things and have a routine for certain things, but overall, the comfort zone. You got to get out of that little zone that's keeping this little walk-in closet that's keeping you entrenched and is a barrier between you and a lot of potential success and a lot of endeavors that you could have in life. Number 8, I call it learn to empathize and understand the flow of energy in life. Perceive things from other people's point of view. For those of you that are STEM majors, you probably took a physics or chemistry class. All right, what's the first law of thermodynamics? Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred or converted from one form to another. And I think that extends beyond just, a chemistry lesson. I think that is the natural flow of energy in our environment as human beings and in a social context. By this logic, someone could be exuding negative energy like we were talking about before, but they could very well be dealing with a lot of negative energy internally, and all they're doing is just kind of transferring that energy. I think we all have a tendency to only understand things or limit ourselves to perception at face value, but I think it's very important to understand perception as more than face value and to not take things personally, because it rarely is personal. If you're having a bad day and somebody piles on by cutting you off in traffic, or somebody says a microaggression to you at work, or your significant other says something they didn't truly mean because they were just having a bad day. You don't really know their story. You don't know what people are going through emotionally. And maybe they were just lashing out and they didn't mean it. They could have even regretted it in the moment that they said it. You don't truly know. It's going to be natural inclination to take something at face value and say, hey, that insulted me, or that made me feel a certain way. Maybe you start seeing red for a minute, you start crashing out, you lash out back at them. But I think it's important to be able to learn to empathize on a daily basis and say, hey, you know what? This person's probably going through some shit. Maybe they made me feel a certain way negatively, but what they're going through negatively is tenfold, thousandfold. The little bit of negativity that they dropped off to me was just a drop in the ocean of what they're going through. So why am I going to sit here and let them ruin my day when God knows what could be going on? Their mom could be getting treated in chemotherapy, getting treated for stage 4 cancer. They could be going through a horribly toxic breakup with someone they've been dating for like 5 or more years. Maybe they just got laid off at work. They work for some tech company that just furloughed them with no warning whatsoever and treated them like a pawn in this scheme to get corporate money, and then just sent them out the door with no severance package, nothing. You don't know what people are going through. So the next time somebody cuts you off in traffic, says some shit that rubs you the wrong way, it's okay to get angry in those initial 3 to 5 seconds. Okay, that's natural. That's natural inclination. Train your mind to think past that, to be able to work through that initial anger or rage or flustering that you feel, and try to think about where that stems from. And I do want to speak on empathy, because I do feel like empathy is a very useful trait that helps us understand and helps others, but in that same vein, it can be negative. It can be a bit of a setback. It can be misused. I think it's important to see things from someone else's point of view and still understand that their experience is their own, and to, let them kind of go through their life with their own experiences and not try to trauma compare or fake empathize with them and compare your experiences to them or project your experiences as their own, because we are very unique individuals, each and every one of us, with our own multifaceted situations and life experiences. It's a fine balance between empathizing with others about their experiences and acknowledging that their experiences are their own. And that brings us to lesson 9, kind of going off of that point. Life is a balance. This is constant push and pull, this ebb and flow, this yin and yang. It's a balance of self-confidence and self-awareness or self-humility. It's a balance of self-care and self-sacrifice, and it's a balance of planning for the future, living in the moment, and learning from the past. Lesson 10, also kind of circulating back to this idea of balance. Learn to balance self-confidence and self-awareness. Now, it is absolutely paramount in this life that you have confidence and faith in yourself, because your capabilities are likely extending much further than you actually think. And it all starts with your own self-belief, your own intrinsic motivation, your own sort of self-motivation of like, oh, am I able to do this? What am I capable of? I'm confident in my abilities, the skills that I have in my arsenal, my ability to adapt to situations and learn from them, and also put my best foot forward. Because if you don't believe you can do something, chances are nobody is going to convince you otherwise, all right? If you think you can do something or you think you can do something, chances are you're right. Nobody's going to have that confidence for you. You got to truly believe that you can do something. Nobody's going to get you off your ass and do it if you're not passionate about something and confident in your abilities. There's a massive surplus of haters in this world. There's going to be people who believe that you ain't shit. They're going to constantly doubt you. They're constantly going to tear you down because they're going to always feel like they're in competition with you, and they don't want you pushing the envelope and showing the best version of yourself if that version is better than them, because they don't believe they can do it themselves, and they're at maybe a self-crisis or a discontent with themselves. But don't let their self-crisis and their hate and their doubt and their negative words, don't let that rub off on you and try to tear you down, because it's really not about you. I truly believe having haters is, once again, the way of the wild. They're always going to exist. They're always going to be around. In fact, if you don't have haters, I don't think you're doing it right. You have to have haters because you're pushing the envelope. You're tearing down these barriers. You're showing people the best version of yourself. You're showing yourself the best version of yourself and what you can accomplish, which maybe you didn't previously think you could accomplish in the past. And that's applying pressure. That's pushing the envelope. People are going to feel a certain type of way about that, because you being the best version of yourself is making them feel insecure about themselves and what they should be accomplishing that they're not. Like I always say, there's never been a statue erected for a hater, and there's never been a statue erected for someone who didn't have haters. If you have haters, you're doing it right. Learn to deal with them, learn to adapt. Lesson number 11, do not search for validation from anyone else but yourself. Everyone is going to have their opinions, and they're likely not going to be positive. There's a surplus of haters and doubters in this world.
How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion!
You got to respect everyone's individuality and their own unique viewpoints and their own life experience, and learn to appreciate that, no matter how infuriating or discordant they could be. Now, I think it's your natural inclination to search for validation from people, especially if you've grown up a people pleaser like myself, or someone with anxious attachment, and somebody who always has anxiety that people are going to leave your life or that people don't think you're good enough. We all want that assurance. We always want that pat on the back. We want people to let us know that we're doing a good job, because sometimes the voices in our head aren't going to constantly validate that for us. And we're all addicted to social media, all right? We're all addicted to these goddamn little boxes of technology with metal plates in them. We're addicted to Twitter or X, whatever the hell Elon Musk is calling it these days. We're addicted to Instagram, Facebook. We're constantly being bombarded with these comparisons to others and seeing how other people are living their most performative life as it is perceived on through a screen. We're making these comparisons in our head, and we're seeking this false validation and anchoring our self-value or our sense of value to it, which is not great. It's absolutely disastrous to our self-esteem and our mental health.
Sometimes the world looks perfect.
And, chasing validation from others is the largest waste of energy and the largest disruption of your inner peace that you can have in this life, in my opinion. It's quite literally this endless, futile journey. It's like venturing into a black hole to a point of no return. It's just this infinite void that you fall through that only ends in stress, frustration, and despair. And even when you think you're getting a lot of double taps on your photos or a lot of positive comments, it's really about nothing. Everyone's just kind of throwing our comments into the void to expect something back and receive some false performative validation back. The only validation that matters is yourself, because you know your story. You're the one who's going to give yourself motivation. You're the one living life through this vessel that is your body and your spirit. When you log off of the apps, when you turn your screen off, when you lay your head to rest at night, the only voice in your head is going to be you, all right? Make sure that is a voice of validation, of encouragement, an acknowledgement of maybe all your trauma and your experiences that you've gone through in a positive light, and reminding yourself that you are amazing, you're the best version of yourself, as long as you put the work in and stay focused. And that's all that matters. None of this other shit matters. Lesson number 12. Don't be motivated by fear of consequences, but rather by the pursuit of their results. You know, this kind of goes back to what I was saying about the comfort zone, all right? We're always married to this comfort zone of routine, of kind of things that we know are tried and true that are going to not disappoint us in life. And so oftentimes we find ourselves in this routine, in this kind of humdrum lifestyle where we're not getting out of our comfort zone and trying new things and trying to elaborate on new skills or talk to new people or try a new path in life because we're afraid of the consequences. We haven't tried that path before and we know that failure could be around the corner.
Failures!
We all know that failure is something that is absolutely necessary. It's this amazing thing that allows us to grow. And we need to develop a resilience for facing failure. We need to develop a resilience for overcoming fear and trying new things. And we need to continually be comfortable with being uncomfortable, with getting out of that comfort zone. There's kind of different ways that we could look at something that we're trying for the first time. We could be afraid of trying it and just swear that off and either procrastinate or you make up excuses for why we don't want to try something because of all the ways it could go wrong. Or we could look on the positive side and see the potential fulfillment, the potential growth, the potential amazing results, and the ways that we can impress ourselves to kind of get in this positive feedback loop of continuing to motivate ourselves past that point and keep doing better and better and better things. All the positive things that could stem from taking a leap of faith and trying something new for the first time. We want to continually be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and we're not going to get that far if we're afraid of taking a step outside of that comfort zone. So we need to rewire our minds to think, let's be motivated by all the potential positive aspects that could stem from this course of action rather than be overcome with fear and say, okay, well, I'm not going to try this new career path even though I'm passionate about it. What if I don't have what it takes and I just end up wasting money on a degree? I'm afraid to holler at this cute person that I see at the coffee shop or at my job or at my run club, whatever it is, because, you know, what if I get rejected? What if they're in a relationship and I get embarrassed in front of other people? It's like, okay, we could be overcome by the fear of that, but why don't we look on the bright side? What if we could have this amazing new job, this amazing new career path existing beyond the horizon that we didn't even know about or we didn't think we were capable of, where we could develop new skills, we could be the best version of ourselves. You know, you could meet the love of your life and you could have looked back and said, oh, what if I was overcome by fear of them rejecting me or not being interested or already being in a relationship with someone? It's like, okay, yeah, it's easy to make those excuses for why you shouldn't get out of your comfort zone, but look at all the positive aspects that could stem from it. You built that resilience for getting out of the comfort zone, continually being motivated by the positive potential results of something rather than the fear of the negative consequences. And finally, lesson number 13, let's end on a positive note. Learn to appreciate a good sense of humor. Now, if you are like me, you have a lot of negative life experience maybe in your past that, you know, maybe weighs on your mental, maybe lives in your head rent-free, maybe it makes it hard for you to sleep at night sometimes. You know, maybe it affects your interpersonal relationships and potential dating partners going forward. You're gonna have a lot of shit in this life. You're gonna have skeletons in your closet. You're gonna have voices in your head of anxiety and self-doubt. Life is going to throw a lot of negative things your way, a lot of obstacles, a lot of burdens, just a roller coaster of emotions that you are going to be forced to ride and maybe you won't even be able to get off. Now, the best way to get through this life, at least for me, has been appreciating a great sense of humor. You gotta find a way to smile and laugh your way through it because you only get this life once, in my opinion. You gotta enjoy it to the best of your abilities. There is quite a lot. There's a plethora of stuff to appreciate in this life.
My life is good. Really good.
It is amazing that we have this life. It is a gift every single day, every single 24 hours we get. Through all the negativity, you just gotta smile, you gotta laugh, you gotta make other people laugh, inspire them, give good energy and get it back. See the joyous humor side of life and don't take it too seriously because it's not. It's just not that serious. Everything's not do or die. It doesn't matter how many likes you get on your Instagram photo. It doesn't matter that your ex is dating somebody new and you can't figure out why that person has traits that are better than you. It's just not that serious. They're maybe just more compatible together. And that isn't in no way a knock on you or any kind of degradation to you because you're going to find someone who's more compatible with you. Don't worry why you're maybe alienated from certain members of your family because he had some petty beef that you could examine the details of over and over again. It's just not that serious. Learn to appreciate the humorous side of life, but don't be a complete asshole to people. You know, if they can't appreciate your comedic sense, then just kind of let them be. Divert that energy elsewhere. Be around people that are going to enjoy your humorous side. They're going to enjoy your comedic wit that you have, the way that you're able to kind of navigate through life using humor as a coping mechanism in the best way possible. Anyways, my name is Drew, aka The Hopeless Romantic. I hope that you've taken something positive out of this video. I hope that it's maybe inspired you to some degree to be a better version of yourself or to cope with your mental health in one way or another. Love you all. See you in the next one.